Got it. Welcome, everyone. Thanks, Leonie. That is a great help. So today, I'd like to get you started because I'm hanging for one. That's why I asked to be first. I'd like to get you started on a drink. This drink is called a peach passion fruit liqueur, which I have changed slightly, not only towards my liking, but more so towards what is available and not too costly in the shops. So I'd like to give you just a minute of a little bit of a history of how I came across this. For the last 5 years, I have been running Christmas hamper workshops, hands-on workshops for my customers. And in one of those, I pretty much wanted to, for all of us to have a drink that we could present as a present or just have for Christmas ourselves. This was liked so much for so many different reasons that I thought it would be worthwhile to introduce this to you, because I don't think that any one of you would just freely, unless you are Germans. Hello. Yep. Unless you do speak German, you probably wouldn't go and look for drinks on the German cookie dough site. So without further ado, I have changed the recipe slightly to suit me. What does that mean? Passion fruit, if you were to get passion fruit juice, I feel that the passion fruit juice is not as yummy as for instance, a peach or an apricot juice would be. So I turned the passion fruit into peaches, and the peaches are still going to be used. So I'm starting us off with a whole tin full of peaches, which you can buy in any supermarket. And please, if you've got a peach tree, you've got your own stuff coming off the trees, great way to use them. So the entire tin goes in. What I love about this recipe, it is just so easy and so quick to make. 15 seconds, just a little whiz up. Beautiful. Now, if you are a family or you have people coming over who are not into dairy, replace the buttermilk and the cream that I'm about to put in with perhaps a bottle of soda water. I will show you the recipe that I've translated, and you can all take a picture in a moment. Let me just finish it, and then it may make more sense. It's really, really yummy. So I'm going to be using 200 mils of buttermilk, and if you're not into buttermilk or you don't have buttermilk, normal milk will do too. Be a little bit inventive and make things work for yourself. I feel I have not been able to destroy this recipe as yet. Then we're adding 200 mils of cream. Make it worthwhile. We're there. The recipe asked me for 100 grams of sugar. I, from my own experience, would say that's a bit too much, too sweet. But hey, if you like it sweet, and if you need to fill yourself up or fill the kids up with sugar during the festive season, please do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use something a little bit more natural and not quite as much. I'm just going to put about half, maybe 50 mils of maple syrup in it. Who of you uses maple syrup as a replacement for sugar? Then a little bit of vanilla sugar. Beautiful, Leonie. Thanks for all your feedback. So about a teaspoon of vanilla sugar. And again, some vanilla essence would do as well, just to change the flavor a little bit or to influence the flavor. Now at this stage, I'm going to just show you. I have a little bit of vodka left. We're not much into alcohol of that nature. However, I do want to feed this to the kids. So I'm going to complete this first without the alcohol, and then later on I add that in. If all the ingredients come fresh out of the fridge, you don't even need to add ice because it's going to be cold enough. But adding some ice in it, hang on, I forgot one bit. The last step is about half a liter of the passion fruit juice. Now, I am using some apricot nectar because this is what I really like. So I don't often drink juice, but this is something that I really like. So about 500 mils. If you're looking for drinks that you can make and that actually produce quite a bit of substance for you, this is one of them. You will have the whole bowl full of fluid. Just a quick mix up. And in the meantime, for anyone who is interested, I have actually translated this. And if you like, take a screenshot. I can also put this up on the community page for you. Hopefully you got this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, going down. And what I would normally do at this point, I would use a little, what do you call it? I can't think of the name. I would fill this drink up in small bottles and use them as little presents for friends. But of course, it's Friday. And have a look. This is going to be my drink. I leave a little bit of room for the vodka. And I'm going to pick this glass container just so that you can see how much was produced. Another option for this drink could be that instead of adding vodka, put some champagne in or white wine. This is definitely a very, very nice and cooling and pleasant drink to have in summertime. So hopefully that was a nice tip that hardly anyone, I can't say nobody, because some of my customers have seen this before and they're on here. However, it's always a winner. Hopefully this was a good tip for you. I'd love to see some of you try this out. Moving on. Thanks, guys.
Fantastic. Thank you, Colette. Let me put my big screen up. Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to jump in and show you guys a red onion chutney. So it's called a caramelized red onion chutney if you want to find it on Cookie Doo. And I'm going to change it again a little bit. We all love making little improvisations. This is calling for some red onions, and I'm actually using just some brown ones straight out of the garden. So these are homegrown brown onions. They'll taste slightly different to the red, but still really, really nice. And so depending on what onions you have, you can put your own spin on this relish and make it just how you want to have it. So very, very first step here is 25 grams of olive oil, and then 500 grams of red onions cut into wedges. So that's what I've popped in here so far. And I popped my splash guard on. Now, this is a TM6 only recipe, this one. It uses the high heat function. And I just turn the little wheel like that. And that's going to get off caramelizing these for 20 minutes. These are going to be beautifully caramelized and all melted down in 20 minutes time. So while they are doing their thing over there, I'm going to make you guys a caramel sauce. I absolutely love caramel. Did anyone else here a caramel fan? Pop into the chat box if you are. I'm a caramel fan. Yes, beautiful. I love caramel sauce. And one thing, when I had my TM5, I loved I made a chocolate fudge sauce and a caramel sauce. And these were things that I'd never, ever made at home because they take so much stirring and precision. But the caramel sauce that I could make was never quite like that really rich, real caramel that you could buy from, you know, like a boutique store or somewhere like that. I can never work out how do you really get it that nice and rich where it sort of sets it. It's using those high heat sugar stages is how you get that. So this caramel sauce recipe uses that extra high heat, and it starts to go into those sugar stages where you're playing around with toffees and that sort of stuff. And it's going to set a little bit differently. So instead of this setting like a really runny pour on caramel sauce, it'll set a bit thicker as well. So it's absolutely delicious. If you're looking to make a really nice sort of fancier thing to pop in your Christmas hampers or just something to have at the Christmas table this year, this sauce will absolutely win everybody over. So I'm going to jump in here so you guys can see a little bit clearer. Here we are. So I'm working on this one here. I'm just going to go back to the very beginning. So you can see the picture sort of on my screen there. It's just called caramel sauce. Now, whenever you're using the sugar stages on your Thermomix and you're going up above that 130-degree heat, you get a little page here just telling you to stick to the quantities that it's recommending. So this is just to protect your bowl and protect your recipe, because once you get above that 130 with sugars and that sort of thing, you're dealing with such high heat that a few degrees over or under, and either your caramel won't set or you'll actually start to burn things in there. So stick to the exact quantities in these recipes for the sugar stage part. Now you'll see after the initial sugar stage in here where it gets really hot, it then offers you to add in some cream. That's when you can start to add in your own things. If you want to add in more cream, less cream, change that. You can there, because it's not going to hit those really high temperatures again. So just keep that in mind when you are cooking with the sugar stages. Your best bet's to stick with the recipes before those really big high heats and then play with them after that. You can also have a little play. It says here raw sugar or light brown sugar. So if you like this recipe but you do want to tweak it a bit, play with the type of sugars that you're using. Maybe try white sugar and see what you get with that result. Try brown sugar, raw sugar, see what the different results give you, and tweak the recipe that way rather than actually adjusting how much the quantity of sugar you're popping in. So as this says, raw sugar. So 250 grams of raw sugar to begin with. This is a caramel sauce, so I'm not going to hold back on that sugar at all. 250 grams in. Now we put in 30 grams of unsalted butter. Now, to get this to really melt down perfectly, it even gives you measurements and tells you to have it in one big piece and straight out of the fridge. And that's just designed so that the butter melts at just the right time for this recipe in order for it to be melted in and start the sugar stages. So this recipe has been absolutely tested and tested and tested in our kitchens before it actually got released on Cookie Dough. So they have this down to a really, really fine art. So butter goes in. 70 grams of cream. And again, you've got a little direction there on the type of cream to use. So cream goes in. 30 grams of water and a teaspoon of lemon juice. So I have that in here. Now we're going to pop our splash guard on here as well. So lid on. And then, oops, our splash guard. And same thing with this one. We turn the wheel and it just starts off going. So super, super easy. If you're looking to get in and make a treat after dinner one night to get your hampers started, just start off a recipe like this and it'll literally take you a couple of minutes to get it on, and then you can go away and do whatever you need to do for the next 28 minutes, and this will just be looking after that beautiful caramel sauce, and you don't even have to be in the kitchen. When you come back, there's a couple more steps to go through, and then that's done and it's going into a jar. So in terms of looking for something easy that isn't too hands-on, this is just perfect. And having two machines makes it so awesome to make things like hampers, because being able to just chuck on two things like this 5 minutes after dinner one night, and I've got two beautiful things coming up. If I do that a couple times a week between now and Christmas, I will have plenty of gifts to go around to everybody that I need to get them to. And it takes hardly any time. So if you are someone that has a couple of thermies, and I know some of you guys do, Utilize them both, pop something in both of them and really utilize your time in the kitchen. And you'll be surprised how quickly those hampers come up. All right, now, while they are all cooking, I'll move this back a little bit. Now, I'm just going to see, beautiful. Tennille, did you like to introduce your recipe before I play the video?
Yeah, I could be pretty brief because it's pretty straightforward, but happy to have a quick chat.
Go for it.
Okay, so I'm Tennille. I'm a consultant up in Moorhope, and the recipe I'm bringing to you tonight is the red and green Christmas shortbread. I had actually made a similar one to this before, which was a Thermomix recipe, and I used that a lot when I only had a TM5. But since getting the TM6 as a consultant, I found the red and green recipe, and it's basically identical and way easier. So yeah, check out the video, watch the chaos of cooking with my kids and have a bit of a laugh.
Love it. All right, let's jump in. Now, if you guys can't hear the sound on this or anything, please someone come off mute and let me know, because I can't see what's going on when I'm in here sharing this, but I've practiced, so I hope that it works. Fingers crossed.
Hello, we're going to do a quick video for you today showing how to do the red and green Christmas shortbread. Got the helpers here, Amelia and Sienna. They're going to help make the cookies. Wish me luck. Okay, so to get started with the recipe, quiet please. It does ask you to preheat the oven to 150 degrees, but there is a bit of a rest time with your dough, so you can always preheat later. So next part of the recipe, get your baking tray ready. We can do that later. So it wants 40 grams of white rice. Can you put that one in? No, not with your fingers. Just pour it in. No, Sienna, pour it in carefully. That's it. All right, can you press the next button? Okay, we've got 60 grams of raw sugar. Sienna, you want to help? Ready? There you go.
I want to help too.
Yeah, you will in a minute. Pour it in. Good job. All right, next. So we're going to put our lid on. Yeah, it's going to hold up. Hang on, Sienna. Hang on. All right, I'm going to turn this. It's got 1 minute. So we'll mill this for 1 minute.
I'll do it.
In a minute.
Oh,
We'll be back.
I love that part.
She did love that part. We were milling the rice and the sugar.
Ooh.
So, we still got a bit of a science experiment here.
Ew, shoot. Shoot, go away.
Okay, there we go. We've milled the rice and the sugar.
No.
Yes, okay, it's all right.
Ew.
Right, so it says to scrape down the sides of your bowl. It's okay, it's just sugar. Love it. All right, so we'll scrape that down, ready for the next step. There you go. There you go, there's your sugar and your rice. So essentially we've now got rice flour, which we didn't have to purchase. We just milled our rice. There we go. We'll just get all that stuff off the lid.
Mommy, I want to eat the sugar.
Yeah, of course you do. No, not now. Ready? You're helping with the next bit. Don't do that.
I want
No,
sugar.
are you going to help? Are you going to help? All right, let's do it. So now it wants the plain flour. We've got 300 grams. Don't. Come on, you going to help? Gently. You help too, Sienna. That's it. Alrighty. So
Mummy.
good job. Hang on, we'll do the next bit. Can you hit the button? So 300 grams of plain flour.
Yay.
Now I've got 250 grams of butter cut into cubes. All right, you can both help. Here we go. We've got clean hands. We've washed about 3 times before we got started. Yeah, we're just going to quickly lob all these in, girls. That's it. Good job, Sienna. That's the way. Good job. Let's Sienna do the last one. There you go, Sienna. Put that one in. Can you put that in? Okay. Good job. Right. No, okay. All right, you do the last bit. That's it. Quick. Okay. Right, so now I've got to put measuring cup back in. That's 250 grams of butter.
My mama go near us.
No, it'll be all right.
Yay.
So it is 5 seconds, speed 5. Here we go. So mix that up. It's okay. Okay, so hit next. So it says keep measuring cup inserted. We'll give you a quick look. So just like making scones from scratch, it's kind of the same effect as when you get your butter and the flour, and you know, Grandma would have told you to pinch the butter and flour together. So Thermy's made light work of that. It's done that in about 5 seconds. Okay, so stop eating sugar. So it says keep measuring cup inserted, and now it is just going to use the dough function for 40 seconds.
Mommy, will it go?
Okay, so we've just finished that 40 seconds of kneading. Hang on, not yet. So it's just brought all of that butter and flour together into a crumbly dough, which is all good. Stop licking the sugar. There you go, that's how it looks. Eat it, yeah, tricked me. All right, next one. So now the red and green comes from our pistachios and our cranberries. So Amelia, pop the pistachios in carefully. No, not by hand. No, that'll take forever. Just pour it in. There we go. Good job, girls. Okay, hang on. Next one, we hit next. Now it's asking for cranberries. You can help too, Sienna. That's it. Okay. Yep, hang on. Just be careful.
That's
Careful, hang on. Okay, so the lid and measuring cup go in. Girls, pay attention. And we're done. Attention span, 15 seconds, over. So it's saying turn speed selected 3 to 4 times. So it's got the turbo function activated for 1 second. So it's just going to lightly chop up those nuts and cranberries. Oh, that was noisy. That's 1, 2, don't scroll down. 3, and we'll do 1 more. 4. Next. Oh, that was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just
Tippy.
gently combined your cranberries and pistachios. It's chopped some of them up, it's kept some of them whole. The next bit will be to put this out onto a mat. We'll get that ready. Okay, this is the fun part for the kids. It says transfer the mixture onto a silicone bread mat or lightly floured work surface and work mixture into a log. So we're just going to get all that out. Yay, that was exciting. Okay, so this is where you can get involved. Here we go.
Yay.
You're going to help me push it together?
Yeah.
All right, so we're just going to push this together and we're going to work it into a log. We'll come back and show you that.
Love.
Hello again. Okay, so we've got our mixture rolled into a log. Now you can use cling film to wrap this up because it needs to go in the fridge to get a bit firmer. Or if you've got a bread mat like this, you can just roll it up in the mat and just turn the edges in. Oops. And we can pop that in the fridge for about an hour until it's firm enough to cut into your biscuit shapes.
And
So
also
we'll come
that
back.
we get to cook it and eat it.
Okay, we're back. So we pulled our log of dough out of the fridge. It is nice and solid. So the oven is preheated to 150 degrees, as you can see. Solid log of dough. Now you don't really want to cut up on this mat, so I'm just going to get that out of the way because a pastry cutter probably won't get through. Yay!
Yeah.
The pastry cutter won't quite push through the nuts and the cranberries, so you probably really want a bread knife or like a serrated knife. So just showing you, it says when you're cutting it to cut them approximately ½ centimetre thick. So see how you go. Yeah, so when I chop through this, a little bit of the dough's breaking away, but just see how this comes out. It just gives you a really nice shape for your biscuit. What's the matter? Yeah, so a little bit falls off, but you can just kind of put it back in together for your bacon. So,
I want to make one.
well, how about I cut it and you put it on?
Yeah.
Right, I'll just show you one more. So, yeah, a bit of a serrated action does help to get into the dough. Hang on, we're going to push this back in. Let me push the nut back in.
Oopsie.
Hang on. I just want to show them quickly. Hang on, let me show them on the video. May I have it, please? Thank you very much. So you can see you get a really nice effect with the cranberry and the pistachio. So that should come up really good. All right, so we're going to cut the rest of these up and then we're going to bake them. Hang on, bake them for 20 to 30 minutes. So we will come back when that's done. Okie dokie. So we've cut them all up. It did say 1/2 centimetre, but I think mine sort of turned out a bit more like 1 centimetre thick. And cutting them at that thickness, we've got 31. So that's heaps. So there we go. They look very pretty. They're going to go in the 150-degree oven for 20 to 30 minutes. Thank you, Amelia. Here's our second tray on our rose gold tray with thermo baking mat. All right, we're back when they're done. Okay, here we are. Biscuits are finally cooked. So when they came out of the oven, we left them on the tray for 10 minutes to cool down. Then they came onto the rack to cool down completely. So now at the decoration stage, girls, pay attention. We had white chocolate in our bowl, chopped it up for 3 seconds, 5 seconds, speed 8. Amelia, I'm talking. Then we melted for 3 minutes, 37 degrees, gave it a stir, melted for another 5 minutes, 37 degrees, or until melted. I've now just got some boiling water in my thermo server. I've got a glass bowl. Don't dip that, darling. You lick that. Let go. Yeah. Okay, eat that. We've got our chocolate, melted chocolate in the glass bowl, which is over boiling water. So it's sort of keeping it melted. And now for the final part of the decoration, you grab your cooled down cookie. Yeah, this is the exciting bit, even though my girls don't like white chocolate. Okay, we dip it in. Whoop, yes, you can. Just dip halfway. Halfway. Whoop, there we go. So your half dipped chocky picky. Pop it there. Okay, drip it off. Perfect. All right, pop it on the tray next to this one. All right. So there you have it. You dip your bickies in the chocolate, pop it in the fridge to set for 30 minutes, and there you finally have your shortbread, chocolate dipped, ready for Christmas hampers. Thank you for enjoying the chaos.
What did you guys think?
That was even funnier watching that back.
What did everybody think of those shortbreads? I can see there's a few comments in there. Beautiful. And I can see there were some questions around times of making things leading up to Christmas. Was chatted about as well. You guys have been talking about that in the chat. Yeah, so it really depends on what you've got, what ingredients are in. So anything with dairy, eggs, things like that, they do need to be made much closer because they obviously don't have that longer use by date. But things like your chutneys and jams and relishes and anything else like that can really last quite a long time. So when you are popping them into a jar, you can, depending on your recipe, obviously right now with the high heat, I don't have so much steam coming out, but say some of my recipes where I have the splash guard off, you can actually pop your glass jar upside down and let the steam from the Thermomix actually sterilize the jar for you or make it nice and hot. And then if you pour your liquid in or your contents in while it's still really hot and it's a proper lid with a nice seal on the top, it'll actually vacuum seal it down, and then that will keep a really long time as well. So that's something to keep in mind in terms of that. Things like spice rubs and that sort of stuff, they're great gifts as well, and they can be made way ahead of time. So just a little bit of planning there when you're thinking of your gifts is yeah, you know, what things should I make ahead of time, what things I need to make closer to the day. Awesome. All right, so what we're going to do now I have, I'm just going to take that spotlight off. Beautiful. So my caramelized onion chutney, my red onion chutney, has just finished the first stage. So that was a big caramelizing of the onions. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So far, that is what we look like. I'll shake it around so you guys can see. So the ones on the bottom there are beautiful. They're nice and broken down. There's some chunkier bits in there too. But you can see the bottom of that bowl. It's beautiful and caramelized. So that flavor in there will go right through my relish, or chutney it is. Now, the next step for this is a half to one fresh red chili. Now, if you have fresh red chili on hand, go for it. I don't have any chilies on hand, so I'm just going to use some dried chili flakes. And I'm just going to give this a good little sprinkle. And again, this is where you can get a bit creative with your chutney. You can still stick to those high heat stages so that you're still getting a good evenness of browning, but then mix up these things and really put your own spin on it. About a teaspoon of fine sea salt. So I'm going to crack this in here nice and fresh. All right. And then we've got 200 grams of light brown sugar. So I'm going to put this in. And again, play with this. If you want to just cut that sugar back, you could just try and halve this and see if you like that flavor better. Really depends on what you like. But when you're making your own gifts, that's the beauty of them, is you can absolutely put your own spin on it. And now we have 200 grams of red wine vinegar. Pop this in. And here again, you could play around and pop in a little bit of balsamic vinegar if you wanted to, and see if you like that flavor. Second bowl. Slow to come out. We're almost there. All right, 200 grams of red wine vinegar. Now we pop on our lid. Seeing how we're going for time, this is a bit of a longer one, so if it doesn't quite get finished, I will show you guys what it looks like in our Facebook group. But that's going to now cook for another 25 minutes. So make sure that it cooks that right down. Oh, and I just seen a great tip there in the chat box of freezing the biscuits and gingerbread and things like that, freezing the dough until you needed it. That's an awesome idea. Beautiful. And you might be able to see, if I just show you over here, there's my jars. So I've just filled these with really hot water and they're sitting there. So you want to keep that in mind when it comes to popping your things into jars, that you're not pouring really, really hot caramel and chutneys and things into cold glass jars, because you've got that chance of that glass just cracking and shattering and ending up with a terrible mess. So make sure that they're preheated. And this is where, for this one, for instance, I could be popping my jars up on here and the steam from here will heat my jars and sterilize them. I could also put my steaming basket or even my Varoma on there so that I could fit more jars in and let them all sterilize at the same time. That's another really good thing to do with these sorts of dishes. Now, I've got a few minutes before my caramel is ready for the next step. So I wanted to throw back to you guys now for a minute. And what are your favorite gifts to give or get in terms of foods and things that you can make, that you've maybe made in your Thermomix before, or maybe you make them by hand? But I'd love for you to pop them into the chat box now so we can get a big brainstorm now of gifts to give out at Christmas time. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to do that. Let's start putting all of those things in that chat box. And while you are, one of our very clever consultants, Dana, she isn't on tonight, I don't think. No, she's not here tonight, but she has done lots of behind the scene work, and she has put together a huge PDF of all of these different things that you can put in hampers that you can make in your Thermomix. It is so well put together, and it is with all of the recipe links there ready to go. So it'll have the red onion chutney with the hyperlink there, so you click on it and have a look at the recipe, and it's absolutely fantastic. So what we're going to do is, after this class, I will send that all out to you guys in an email. So everyone who registered for tonight, you'll receive that big PDF in an email, and then you're going to have your big cheat sheet. When it comes to making your Christmas hampers, you can open that up and go, what am I going to make? And pick some from each category. There is some awesome ones on there. So lots of work has gone into that PDF, and it is absolute gold. Now, what have we got in this chat? I can see so many things coming through. Fudge is a great gift. Oh, it absolutely is. Fruitcake. Always take the teacher's cookies. Shortbread, yes. Rocky Road, yum. Taco seasoning, chai tea mix, yum. I make my Nan Baileys every year. Lots of DIY personal care stuff like moisturizers and lip balm. Absolutely. Can we make smelly candles in them? I don't know. Has anybody made candles in their Thermomix? I haven't done any wax melting in my Thermomix. Definitely done lip balms and moisturizers and things like that. They're fantastic to make. But I would love to hear if any of you have made candles. Colette, do you know? Yes, Colette has. Fantastic. All right, so it can be done. Beautiful. That's exciting. What else have we got in here? More shortbread. Honeycomb, yum. A little tip, if you're going to make honeycomb, again, it's a TM6 only recipe because it needs to get to that really high heat. If you're making honeycomb to not eat immediately, so whether that be that it's wanting to make it the day before to serve at a Christmas lunch, whether you're wanting to wrap it and serve it as part of a hamper or give it as a gift, whatever it might be, honeycomb itself, as soon as it gets out in the air, it starts to deteriorate. So if you can keep it really, really airtight, or even airtight and in the fridge, then that will help it to last and stay nice and crisp. But honestly, the best way to preserve it is to dunk it in chocolate. It is a win-win situation for the person eating it, and it takes away that worry of having to preserve it and make sure that it doesn't go funny out in the air. So really good one there with your honeycomb is just dunk it all in chocolate. But otherwise, you can keep it for quite some time in the fridge if it is in an airtight container or jar. We've got more curries, caramel sauces, curry paste. That's a great gift. Fudge, beetroot, ketchup, meat rubs, lemon curd and jam, delicious. Caramel slice. Oh, melting moments, gingerbread men, raspberry jam, blackberry jam, red and green shortbread, and kiss biscuits, spice rubs, marmalade, washing powder, body scrub. Oh, these are fantastic. I'm going to try Turkish Delight, delicious nut brittles, marshmallows. Oh, my goodness. Shortbread, gingerbread, jam, lemon curd, Baileys, candy cane, hot chocolate powder, fudges. Wow. Kfc Spice Mix, that's a fantastic one. Kahlua iced coffee concentrate. I love this. Beautiful. All right, there are so many ideas in there. Write those down. Crazily write them down if there's something there that you like. But I will send out that PDF as well, so you guys have another really good cheat sheet there of ideas and recipes. And I think that from a really personal perspective, and as a mother, I like to give gifts that have a little bit of meaning. I might not be for everyone at Christmas, but I would rather give a gift that had a little bit of meaning rather than something that just had a big ticket value, something really fancy. I like to give something that has a bit of meaning behind it. So, and I think of what I would like to get myself as well. And I'm a bit of a practical person, so I love stuff that that I can be given to actually go and use rather than something that's going to sit on the shelf and have a look at. So when I'm thinking of hampers, I love to put in something like that KFC spice mix or a curry paste, something that is going to not just be awesome to open on the day, but you're actually going to make one night that week or the next week or the following week easier on that family. Because when it comes to dinner that night, they've already got their spice rub, their KFC spice mix ready for their chicken. All they have to do is coat their chicken, throw it in a pan, and make a salad or something to go with it. There's dinner. You know, you've done that for them. The kids are going to like it. It's really easy. Or a curry paste. How easy it is to throw a curry together once you have a paste. Coconut milk, some protein in there. You know, it's so easy. So you can give them that gift of not just opening something nice on Christmas Day, but you're giving them a nice quick meal to have with their family as well. And that goes for, you know, those body scrubs and lip creams and moisturizers and all those sorts of things. Again, they're things that that can just keep on giving down the track. They're not just on the day. So they're really beautiful things to put in a hamper, and people really enjoy receiving them. It's so nice to give a nice hamper to someone that you really care about, filled with all beautiful little things that you've made. KFC Spice Mix costs 75 cents and makes enough for kilos of chicken. I love that. Absolutely love that. It is one of our favorite things to put on chicken. My whole family loves it, and it's just so easy. I've got a couple of minutes left here. Then I see Play-Doh up there as another idea, and that's another great one. Give maybe a busy mum of little kids a few little minutes of spare time for herself by giving them some Play-Doh already made. So give that to the kids and they can go away and play with it. Now, last year we ran a hamper making Zoom, quite similar to this, but we looked more at the next stage. So how to make your hampers, where to get your jars from and all of that sort of thing. And we really looked at this, from two different ways of, you can go to somewhere like a cheap shop or a reject shop or somewhere like that. There's lots and lots of online places. And with this time of year, with everything going on, that can be a really good option. But just get yourself some nice little jars like this. You can often get a set of 6 or 10 for a few dollars. They're really cheap and really good little jars. And they'll often even have a little vacuum seal popping lid on the top as well. But your other option is to just save some of your jars. So even if you started saving jars, say from now on, is you'll be surprised how many that you pick up. And it could just be a jar from your peanut butter, or a jar from some herbs or spices that you've bought, or coconut oil, or a coffee jar, or you never know. There's things that you'll still be buying that you'll have the jar of, and instead of just throwing it in the recycling, take the label off it, wash it up, and then you can decorate it. So I see Carissa has just said this. She's just read my mind. You can reuse your jars and put fabric over the top. And that is such a good idea. Last year, it was part of the Zoom. I'm not sure if any of you guys were on there, but we actually looked at how do you decorate them and ways of putting a bit of fabric on, putting a ribbon around it, putting a label on it, all sorts of ways that you can just completely jazz up your old jars, and it's not going to cost you a cent. And then you're making these really cheap things to go inside them, and you're gifting people absolutely beautiful things for Christmas. So I'm going to car park that there for 1 second while we jump back in here. So this here is our caramel sauce. So that's just finished the big, long sugar stages. 28 minutes that's been in there for. Now, I've got to show you this. This is just phenomenal. I love this. It is all, I don't want to tip it up too much, but that is all bubbly on the bottom. Can you guys see that, all those bubbles? Yes, perfect. So the reason that happens, I'm going to just do this next step, then I'll talk. Now, this is where it gives you an option between 130 and 180 grams of cream. So you can really play with the flavour that you like, how creamy or less, how more coffee that you like, your sauce and all that sort of thing. Now, without the measuring cup, And without the splash guard this time, we're just going to give that a couple of more minutes to mix around. Now, you all saw those bubbles on the top. So you said you could see them. So the reason that mixture bubbled, and you can't get that same effect in a TM5 or a TM31, is that high heat range. So while it was actually in that sugar stage, the blade stopped turning, and it was like a saucepan sitting on the stove. It just got hotter and hotter and hotter until it just started to all bubble. But the beauty of the Thermomix is that it holds it at that temperature just right. And it has measured out that recipe to know that after so many minutes, it needs to stir a few times and then hit that temperature again and bubble. And if I was cooking that on the stove, you'd have to have a temperature probe or a thermometer in there to keep an eye on that temperature, because a few degrees over or under is going to make or break that caramel. And then you'd have to be stirring it and making sure it wasn't burning on the bottom. And there's also just a bit of a risk with cooking in that sort of temperature. It's just the safety risk. It is just so hot. If anything goes wrong or gets spilt or anything, it can get really messy at home. And this is why a lot of people at home just don't cook those sorts of caramels and toffees and that, because it's really hard and fiddly. You need to have a lot of skill, and it is really quite dangerous. Certainly not something that a young mum like myself would be doing with my kids around, because it's just so risky to do. But to have it all controlled and in the Thermomix means that I can really have a bit of fun with it. Something that I usually would just put in the too hard basket for cooking at home is just so easy. It's just sitting there in the background. I don't have to be doing anything with it, and it's going to hold at the perfect temperature zones just to make everything work. And at the end, I'm going to have a delicious caramel sauce. And it's all been done hands-free while I'm talking or washing up, doing whatever else that I need to do. All right. Now, still without the measuring cup, I'm going to show you guys what it looks like so far. Now we're looking more like a sauce, and you can see down the bottom. I'm going to give that a little stir. Give it a little stir. Still without the measuring cup. We're going to give it another 3 minutes now. Beautiful. That smells divine. Absolutely beautiful. All right. Now, while we have a couple of minutes here, I wanted to just chat to you guys about what we have on for the rest of the month, and see what else you guys are interested in seeing us cook and that sort of thing. So give me 1 second here while I just jump off screen and bring this up on my end so that you guys can see. All right, I'm take you in. Now I can't see the chat box here, so call it out if there's anything that you guys want to say. But this is our link tree. So this has all of our events up for the rest of the month. So next week on Tuesday, we are going to run a seasonal cooking class. So we're going to be having a look at cooking with the season. So looking at you know, what's in season at the moment and what can you do with it? How do you find recipes? How can you utilize what's cheap right now and what's in, maybe what's in your veggie garden, what your neighbors have an abundance of growing in theirs, and how do you utilize those things to maximize not only your budget, but also the flavors of those in-season things, and just making the most of what's in at the time. So we're going to have that next Tuesday. The following week, we're having cocktails and canapes. So we thought, let's jump into this Christmas season. By mid-November, those Christmas parties are really starting to sneak up. Now, this year, things are still very topsy-turvy, and some of those Christmas parties may not go ahead, or they may be taken to Zoom and all that sort of thing. So we're going to keep just playing that by ear at the moment. We'll do some things really designed for, you know, entertaining in public, and some things still really Zoom friendly, because we want to keep you guys, you know, the best of both worlds, because everyone's in really different situations. And some of you guys might not be in lockdown, but you may have family that you still can't get to. So we want to bring all of those worlds together and really let you guys celebrate this year with cocktails and canapes and really fun stuff, however that might look. Then the next week, we're going to jump in with something a little different with Thanksgiving. So we see lots about Thanksgiving, and we thought, let's do that this year. Let's just throw a bit of a Thanksgiving twist on it, and let's talk about some of the things that we could do in a Thanksgiving theme. And then our very last one, right near the end of November, it's really about to jump into December, then things are really getting busy. We're going to finish off with a party and entertaining class. So that's going to get really, really fun. That will be all about having people over, jumping on virtually, however that might look, and how to maximize your Thermomix. Often people think Thermomix will only cook for 3 or 4 people. If I'm entertaining, I wouldn't use it. I need to cook in bulk. So we can show you how to use your Thermomix to best utilize your time and actually help with that entertaining rather than it being, a hindrance or it being something that doesn't get used. So that will be our party and entertaining class held then, right at the very, very end of November. And then down the bottom is our YouTube channel. So you can click on that link there and go straight in and see all of the other classes and things that we have recorded. All right, and I can just, beautiful, there is some recipes in the chat box, fantastic. So my caramel sauce has just finished, and it says now to transfer it to a jar with an airtight lid and leave it for about 5 minutes. So I have my jars over here with really hot water in them. I'm just going to tip that water out. And I don't have an awful lot of room here in my kitchen, but I'm going to pour this in. See what you think. You guys can see. Yum. I can feel that already starting to set nice and thick. That's going to be beautiful. And then I have this one. Perfect. Now, your bowl after the sugar stages can be a little bit tricky to clean. I'm just going to scrape out what I can now. But the next step in this recipe will prompt me to pop some water in and some vinegar or lemon juice and really give it a good clean. Using that high heat pre-clean to really get all of that toffee and things off there. Because as this is setting, that's starting to set quite thick and a little bit hard. And so that will turn into toffee in my bowl. And you can imagine trying to scrub toffee off through there. It would be an absolute nightmare. So I'm just going to take that off the lid there where the lid shuts. I'll pop some water in my bowl and then I'm going to pop it on to clean. So give me 1 second. All right. So water on there. My vinegar in there. And I'm going to start that clean. If I can find my measuring cup, I'll put that in.
Jo, have you got your lid? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I'm just looking for it. All right. So there's my 2 caramel sauces. Now, you can pop a lid straight on those now and let them sort of vacuum seal down. I'm going to give them a few minutes first, and then I'm going to pop a lid on. And these will set really, really nice. I'll pop a photo up tomorrow into our Life Changers group of how they set the next day, because they actually set really nice and firm. Just going to have a look there. And yeah, using your lid to pour it through is a really, really good idea. I should have done that. Use syrup bottles. That's a really good idea, Leonie. I'm going to start saving my maple syrup bottles now for things like caramel sauce. I think that's a really, really cool idea rather than the jars. Great one. I've got a couple of minutes over here, so I'll wait that couple of minutes. It'll finish us up right at 9 o'clock, but you'll get to see the end result of our red onion chutney. So while we are waiting for that, I'd love for those of you guys who just saw all the things that we have coming up over the next few weeks, did anything there jump out at you that you would like to jump on and watch again? Any of those things that you're thinking, I want to book into, I want to see that one? And is there anything there that you would like to see us do that we don't have? Leonie, you've booked into all of them. Fantastic. And Brooke as well. Beautiful. Signed up for the cocktails. Woohoo. Awesome, awesome. What a great time of the year for cocktails. That'll be a fun one. Anything else? Will anyone else be joining us for a Zoom before the end of the month? Anything else there stand out to you that you thought you might like? Whoops. And while the rest of you are popping in there, oh, that's fair enough, Sonia. No worries at all, Beck. If you can make it to any, that's fantastic. And booked into all, Megan. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, Kristen, I'll put a photo up, or even maybe a video of me scooping it out tomorrow and show you. It depends on the amount of cream that you use in this one as to how hard that it sets. So last year, I sort of got mine down to exactly how I liked it, and it was where it was more of a scoop out of the jar type sauce. But if you heated it just for a couple of seconds, it went runny enough that you could have poured it. So it really depends on how you like to have it. But I'll show you what it's like just going straight off the recipe and using that full amount of cream, and then that'll give you a really good idea of what you might need to do. All right, and then what else have we got? Yeah, right, absolutely no worries. And more for cocktails. Beautiful. Fantastic. So I'm going to put a little challenge out to you. A lot of you guys hop on lots of our Zooms, and we absolutely love you being on here. But I'm going to put a little challenge out is the next one that you jump on, can you bring a friend along with you? Can you send out an invite, or maybe even just share it on your Facebook for us and invite someone new along that we haven't seen before? We absolutely love to meet new people, and running these Zooms, that is what we love to do, is just getting out there to new people. So yeah, over the next couple of weeks, there's something that you're coming along to, or something that would interest one of your friends, we'd love for you just to share the link with them, tell them what it's about, and see if they might jump on too. So that is my little challenge I'm putting out there to you guys, is please bring a friend along over the next few weeks. And if you do want to get something back for yourself as well, we have the host rewards there. So if you want to bring along 2 friends with you, then you can pick yourself up a really good host reward. So you're looking at thermo servers or thermomats, or even the mini vac, which is the awesome Cobalt mini vac at a really, really discounted price, just for having a couple of friends Zoom in. So it's a really, really good way to pick up those extras. And if you want to know more about it, what all the prices are and that sort of stuff, go and chat with your consultant, and they can line it up with you, so that we've got to get the details of who your friends are, so we can collect the data and put in your reward. But if you can chat with your consultant and line that up, it's a fantastic way between now and Christmas, when everyone's really busy. All they have to do is just jump on Zoom for an hour or 45 minutes, and you can pick yourself up that host reward. So we have that there as well. All right, now this is my red onion chutney just before we finish. What do we say? I didn't read my instructions. While it's still warm, transfer into a glass jar with an airtight lid. Oops. And then we're going to give this bowl a clean, just like we did with this one, because of a high heat. So who wants to see what this looks like?
Yes, please.
Yay. All right. So I'm going to just pour out some of that hot water. How are we going to do this? Let's go this side this time. You guys can see. All right. Oh, I got a big breath for that. So that is what we look like so far. Bear in mind, this will set a little bit too as it caramelizes in the fridge. And this is one that I will absolutely need the lid as a funnel for, because it can be a little bit messy to pour in. So you might have just seen some of the girls saying use the lid. This is what they mean, either this way up or this way, depending on how you feel. And this is just going to make this absolutely mess-free. Now, this is another one that you could really change just by the different size of onions. So you could slice these really quite fine and you would get a really different feel to your relish. You could even chop them in your Thermomix. Really depends on how chunky you like your relish to be. So that is one beautiful jar. It's very hot, but that is a little jar of red onion chutney. What do you guys think? Serve that, a spoonful of that with some cheese and crackers, and that is absolutely delicious. You might be able to see here on this picture, it is very thick and almost sort of like a bit jelly jammy like. Once this thickens up in the fridge, it will go very similar. So I will do the same thing with these two. Once they've set tomorrow, I'm going to scoop some out and I'll pop it into our Life Changers group so that you can see what does it actually look like once it cools down and what am I sort of expecting and what am I going to be jarring up to give my family and friends. All right, let me quickly check the chat before we hop off. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to finish off